just for beekeepers, but for Kenyan farmers, because in Kenya and in most of East Africa, farmers are beekeepers. Most of the, it's unlike here in the US and in Europe where we have specialized beekeepers. In Kenya and East Africa, a lot of farmers, many farmers, have a few hives of bees. So the true lifeline of this story, perhaps, especially of this initial innovation, is this fabulous little insect, one that you would not want to eat, John. This is not an insect for eating. This is the western honeybee, native to Africa, and it is we have a very long and profound relationship with honeybees, we humans. And this relationship is across cultures, and it's also quite old, even before modern humans were, it predates modern humans. In East Africa, we see this profound relationship played out in terms of food and calories, micronutrients for individuals, particularly children, during times of drought. It is a source of income generation. Lots of people sell honey. This is on the Mombasa Road. Honeybees are really critical pollinators of not only food crops, but also of wild crops, native plants that are used for wildlife food, birds, mammals, etc. Honey is also an important source of medicine, particularly for wound healing, and it's of cultural significance in many areas in Africa. Most recently, and interestingly, this innovation using honeybees as pest control. This is Lucy King's project to use lines of honeybee colonies to deter elephants from raiding crops in East Africa, or in Kenya in particular. There's been a lot of effort to try to increase honey yields and help farmers do a better job at beekeeping for many years. And this has really focused on the introduction of modern beekeeping methods and equipment that we use here in the US and in Europe. More recently, this introduction of the Kenyan top bar hive, but this has not worked. 95% of honey harvested in Kenya still comes from traditional log hives. So this introduction of this modern equipment has not worked for beekeepers or farmers trying to keep bees in East Africa. We have some data. We have lots of reasons why this might be so, but here's one data slide from an experiment that we've done at Seku. That shows that migratory swarms of bees, which is where beekeepers get their bees, do not prefer Kenyan top bar hives. Given the choices, they're much more likely to enter logs or even Langstroth hives, but not Kenyan top bar hives. In addition, here in the United States and in Europe, other places, we have so much access to information when it comes to bees and beekeeping. That's not the case in Africa, particularly again in East Africa, which is the area that I'm familiar with. A lot of times equipment is dropped on people, given to people, and it's just expected that they'll know how to use this modern equipment, which is definitely not the case. So our innovation and the work in Kitui County is to actually combine indigenous knowledge and practices with modern technology, particularly cell phones and satellite technology, to have access to information about the landscape and how it's impacting honeybees. So here, cell phones are actually ubiquitous, and which is amazing in Africa. We're collecting data. Beekeepers we GPS the hive locations. We're collecting data about these hives, lots of different information about these hives, which we will model and convert into evidence-based recommendations for beekeepers. So here's an example of that, where we have satellite imagery that can tell us what floral quality is like, coupled with information about precipitation, which will also impact the quality and quantity of nectar-producing plants. And through that, we can then actually form really nice, these are actually sites that we visited like 2 weeks ago. And we have already a map that can tell us what the quality of forage is and where beekeepers might likely get the highest value for their highest production and value out of their bees. We're also introducing this solar wax melter, very simple technology. We've done this with a couple of beekeepers already, and it's amazing. This is a product that is a byproduct of honey production that is essentially thrown away by beekeepers. And this can automatically be generated into significant income. There's already a market for this wax. We'd like to scale up and recognize that this technology, if it works, can be extended not only to other Kenyan counties, but other East African countries, and also to other crops and agricultural enterprises. And this is our very, very wonderful team of both Kenyans and US participants, and we could not do this project if it were not for our Kenyan partners. They are critical to making this work. So thank you very much.